spirituality can be really confusing.
Yeah, if you're struggling to find the right path, the right spiritual practices for yourself, you found the right place here at ZENtegration.
So we've tried it all, and we're here to tell it all. So Kevin, you work with TM. Tell me more about that. I mean, we'd like to hear a lot about the 5 things you've learned about TM.
Yeah, so to start off on Transcendental Meditation, I want to take a second. I want to give a very heartfelt thanks to my teachers of Transcendental Meditation, Rich and Lois Neat, some of the best people I've ever had the opportunity to know. And they basically taught me Transcendental Meditation. I practiced it for on and off for probably going on 4 years now. So before I tell you the 5 things I've learned, I want to tell you kind of why I did TM, and maybe this is, maybe you'll relate to this, maybe you won't. I was at a point in my life where I was under an immense amount of pressure, an immense amount of stress. I was actually selling a business, and I was working, 100-hour weeks, and I just wasn't taking care of myself. In fact, I wasn't very spiritual at the time. My parents noticed that I was, kind of on the edge, so to speak, and they said, hey, they're fans of Howard Stern, whether you like him or not. And, like, hey, Howard Stern practices Transcendental Meditation. You should check us out. I think it'd be really good for you. So I had done other forms of meditation in the past. And, I was kind of wishy-washy about it. I liked some experience I had with meditation. Some of it I was like, this is really hard. And some of it didn't work. But I was open-minded enough to know I needed something. And I was intuitive enough to know that was what I probably should do. Take my parents' advice in this case. So I went ahead and met Rich and Lois Neat. And they taught me Transcendental Meditation. So what are the 5 things that I really learned from doing Transcendental Meditation? I would say the first thing I learned from Transcendental Meditation that was very impactful for me is that the simplest forms of meditation can be the most effective. So what do I mean by that? I had tried other forms of meditation in the past that were quite complicated. Visualizing, grounding, rooting into the earth, I do some of that stuff now, but as a beginning practitioner of spirituality and meditation practices, it was confusing sometimes. But TM is as simple as it gets. It's mantra-based, it's very easy to do, and it's extremely calming. In fact, it's probably the most calming form of meditation that I know how to do, and I still do it. Not as regimented as I did before. I'm kind of out of the program now, but I still do it sometimes if I want to get very, very calm. So it's a great calming practice, and it's super simple, and there's no confusion. So
it's kind of foundational, is what you're saying? So this really helped you build your platform?
Yeah, it really taught me what meditation is. Doing the stuff before on YouTube videos and just trying random stuff did not teach me. The program Transcendental Meditation taught me how to truly meditate, and now I can use that for other stuff.
Very nice, very nice. So yeah. What else did you said there's 5 things, this is the one.
Yeah, so the second thing that the program really does well is it teaches you that commitment is key. First of all, Transcendental Meditation is not cheap, so you're vested in the program itself. But they teach you, it's 20 minutes every morning, every night, for them, forever. If you really want to own the practice. It took me about 6 months to have a transcendental experience. So some people call it a Kundalini experience. I'll talk about that in a second. But to really get to have a spiritual experience took me about 6 months. Now I had moments where it was chaotic and moments where it was really calm. When I meditated, it just kind of depended on how the day went. But it helps you clear stuff out. It helps you stay calm. But yeah, I mean, it takes a serious commitment. If you really want to go all the way and you want to have a truly spiritual experience from TM, it took me 6 months of pretty rigorous practice. That's
a lot of commitment. But the benefits are obvious. I've seen you shift a huge way in the last 2 years. Especially last year.
Yeah, it's definitely been something it was kind of a gateway drug for spirituality for me. Because it was really the first thing I practiced that was awesome. That was serious.
I know that meditation is very difficult because of the clearing the mind. So you talked about, this is really about calming and clearing and having a clear mind. But it's really about the regimen and its commitment. So I've certainly experienced that myself.
Yeah.
So what else you got to say about your journey?
Yeah, I would say the third thing that I really picked up from TM that was very impactful was the experience of feeling electromagnetic energy in your body, or what is often referred to as chi. It's a very real thing, and I didn't understand it, and I don't even know if I quite believed it before I did TM, but that 6-month experience I had was, like I said, it was I think it was a Kundalini experience, at least from my understanding of what it is. I don't practice Kundalini yoga, but I had an energetic sensation, extremely powerful, run up my spine, into my head. This was after doing meditation about 15 minutes, and it zapped around in my head, and I kind of phased out and didn't pass out, but I pretty much lost sense of self. That's hard to explain, but I didn't know,
Was it a bit of an out-of-body experience?
Kind of. I don't know how to describe it. It was amazing. I mean, I had energy for days. It was an amazing thing. Now, with that said, it actually, well, I had energy got stuck in my head. And that's kind of why I figured it out, because I was like, because after that experience, I kept meditating, and for some reason, and I learned later after learning some Taoist practices, I was doing something that actually does get energy stuck in your head. It's not Transcendental Meditation's fault. It was my own fault for not practicing it exactly the way they said, but for some reason, I kept rolling my eyes up into my head and looking up at my third eye, and doing Transcendental Meditation 20 minutes every morning and night, looking at your third eye, will drive a ton of energy to that spot. And it got to the point where there was so much energy there, it was extremely distracting for me. I went to see my Transcendental Meditation teachers. They said, just keep doing the meditation. And I don't even know if I mentioned that I was looking up, because I didn't really think about it. Just something I was naturally doing at that point for whatever reason. That was, the way the universe wanted it to be for me. But it got overwhelming, and then I got frustrated, and I stopped doing TM. And I went down to Sedona, Arizona, where we're filming this right now. And I saw a healer. Her name's Banya. 4th generation Korean healer, practices Tao, and she said, your energetic system, your body's supposed to be like a pyramid. Yours is like an inverse. There's like a triangle facing downward, and what it meant is that all my energy was up in my head, and my lower chakras, my lower energy centers, had no energy, because I had been meditating on my third eye consistently for months, and that was my point where I was like, okay. Where I learned the 4th thing I'd like to tell you, which is, for me, Transcendental Meditation wasn't the thing that took me all the way. It got me started. It's great. If you're in the program, they're going to tell you this is the only way to go. I would respectfully disagree. I think for me, it wasn't the be-all, end-all. I still use it. It's in my toolkit of things I use, depending on what state I want to be in. Mm-hmm. But it's not just the easy thing I practice every morning and every night, and that's it for me. Because of the energetic experience I had, it forced me to learn different meditation practices, different spiritual practices, different breathing methods to bring that energy back down to become integrated, ZENtegration. And now, I have a multitude of different things I practice. So that's kind of the 4th thing. The 5th thing is it proved to me that altered states of consciousness are, in fact, possible through meditation. So calming, you could say it's an altered state, but I mean, the Kundalini experience that I had doing Transcendental Meditation, I would liken, not to say I do drugs, but I would liken it to a very strong and potent. Well, I've had injuries where I've had to take narcotics. I would liken it to something that is extremely powerful, that is definitely an altered state of consciousness. Hard to describe.
And totally legal.
And very legal. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the thing you just highlighted, because it really resonates with my heart and Julie and our mission here at ZENtegration.
Yeah.
It's really about the integration of all these modalities, and it sort of really connects, and it's good to hear this, because we know a lot of people that live here in Sedona, and they just focus on one thing and they just resonate, and even the practitioners talk about the one. We're taking a different approach to this, because we feel like this is a whole balancing. So tell me about your experience with this balancing act that you're doing. Clearly, it's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about integrating.
Yeah, I mean, and I totally agree with you, Tim. I think that it makes sense. A lot of these esoteric practices have a long history. Very dedicated masters and people who are very committed to one practice, and they will tell you just like I heard of TM. This is it. This is it. Do this, and this is your path to enlightenment. You don't need anything else. And what I
40 years of celibacy on the mountain.
Yeah,
that's like really going to catch on.
Exactly,
right?
Dude.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So what I've kind of learned is that, you know, personally for me, try a lot of different things. Take the things that work for you, leave the things that don't, and then combine them together sometimes. Like sometimes I'll do a TM style meditation where I'm also doing breath work that they don't teach that helps me move energy in a certain way. Right. You know, like you can take the best, like you said, take the best of all things and combine them together. That works for me. I know though, and I want to pay homage to their program, there are some people that I know personally who TM is the be all end all for them. Okay. And that's cool. It just wasn't for me.
So I'd like to share a metaphor. We have a statue here, and this statue actually has a little space to put things. And I use this as an example of there are things you're going to come across in your life that really resonate and don't resonate. You know, if this doesn't resonate, don't throw it away. Just put it away someplace. You might come back to this, and it's really about making conscious choices, and that's part of what you're talking about. Is really about the being conscious about where you're going and taking the best that works for you now.
Exactly.
You're going to shift. As you shift, you might find later that this is sort of an important piece that fits the puzzle later in it. And so, how do you play? So I think the statue here really is a place for us to put our things. And you need a box, a virtual box, where you put your stuff together. So. Any closing comments? This has been awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just to echo what you said, that's one of your most powerful teachings, Tim, is the box. You know, it's like there's a lot of things out there. Sometimes they're going to work for you in the present moment. Sometimes they won't. Your advice to me has always been, if it doesn't work for you in the present moment, don't just throw it out. You know, put it in a box because you might need it later. Right. And I've had plenty of experiences like that, you know, where something, you know, doesn't resonate with me in the moment, put it in my box, and, you know, a year down the road, I'm like, man, what Tim said, I need to try that, you know. So I think it's very wise when it comes to going down a multifaceted spiritual path.
Absolutely.
Last thing I want to say is, again, on the ZENtegration kick, you know, in the past, you may not have access to many different spiritual modalities. You may not have access to many different practices. We're living in the new age, you know, and there's tons of stuff to experience. We can take the best of everything. We don't have to be a singular practitioner. We can have a multifaceted or a holistic approach to spirituality, to truly integrate all of it. And I think that's what I love so much about ZENtegration.
So ZENtegration focuses on heart first, mind, body, spirit. And we have a lot of resources on our website, ZENtegration.com, that allows you to explore any of these aspects that resonate to where you're coming from. The other thing that we really do is these YouTube channels and the subscription channels that you're on. Just follow us, comment on this. We'll absolutely incorporate this into our future work. And just follow us if this resonates with you, and sign up for our upcoming programs. So thank you, Kevin. It's been awesome to have you here in Sedona.
Thanks, Tim.
And we'll talk on about the next topic. You're not leaving yet.
Nope.
We're going to talk about the next thing that resonates for you.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, man.